You are sitting in a fast-paced meeting, and someone pitches an idea with a glaring flaw. You see the error instantly, and you know exactly how to fix it, but you pause to find a perfect phrasing. In that split second of hesitation, someone else jumps in. They speak louder, they move faster, and before you can open your mouth, the conversation has entirely moved on. It happens constantly. The individuals with the shallowest grasp of a topic speak with absolute conviction, while those with the deepest, most nuanced understanding sit quietly on the sidelines. Holding back your insights in these moments is a predictable failure of group dynamics that systematically rewards overconfident ignorance and suppresses genuine expertise. Look at Jeffrey Skilling, former CEO of Enron. He was described by peers as incandescently brilliant and carried himself with an uncompromising intellect, but Skilling was incapable of saying, "I don't know." He was fiercely defensive of his opinions and actively dismissed anyone who disagreed with him. This created a toxic corporate culture where employees were terrified to speak up about glaring financial problems. Researchers have noted that this same demand for absolute certainty fueled 20th century political catastrophes. Leaders like Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini operated with a complete lack of intellectual humility, viewing any form of disagreement not as a different opinion, but as evil. When loud, aggressive certainty actively suppresses quiet, deliberate thinking, it drives entire organizations and systems into the ground. To understand why intelligent people freeze up, we have to look at a cognitive mechanism called the curse of knowledge. This illustrates how the brain processes information. Deep understanding automatically detects exceptions and complexities, building a dense web of context. Meanwhile, a superficial understanding processes linearly. Seeing no nuance, they feel zero hesitation to speak up immediately. The rest of the room is watching this play out, and human nature dictates that we consistently mistake a fast, confident delivery for actual competence. The intellectual depth that makes an expert so valuable is the exact mechanical reason they forfeit the timing battle in a fast-moving conversation. There is also a second, emotional barrier at work here, driven by a phenomenon known as social risk aversion. For many quiet thinkers, this stems from early childhood conditioning. They grew up being scolded or punished for correcting an adult, or for pointing out the mistakes of a volatile sibling. Over time, this teaches the nervous system a deeply ingrained lesson. Being visibly right in front of louder, more authoritative people is physically dangerous. This visualizes how the adult brain miscalculates risk under pressure. It treats the potential social embarrassment of speaking up and being wrong as a massive threat, while falsely weighing total silence as completely safe. Boardroom silence functions as an evolved defense mechanism, a protective response triggered by the nervous system that often persists long after the original threat of childhood volatility has vanished. Breaking out of this cycle requires a specific psychological shift to counter both arrogant overconfidence and paralyzing silence, practicing intellectual humility. Intellectual humility is the recognition that your own beliefs and opinions could be wrong. It replaces the drive to appear correct with an openness to new ideas and a greater appreciation for the intellectual strengths of others. Some of the most celebrated minds in history operated entirely on this wavelength. They were driven by an intense, passionate curiosity, and they were completely comfortable with the possibility of being wrong. Group dynamic studies show that after just 30 minutes of conversation, people rate intellectually humble speakers much more positively. We tend to argue with them more constructively, dissolving the fear that saying, "I don't know," makes you look weak. Adopting this mindset immediately relieves the crushing internal pressure to formulate a flawless, bulletproof argument before daring to open your mouth. You can pair that mindset shift with immediate, tactical communication tools to claim space, without needing to force yourself into being an extrovert. The first tool is front-loading. State your core point early in the conversation, even in a rough, imperfect draft form, before the discussion accelerates out of your reach. The second tool is using a bridge phrase. A simple sentence like, "Give me a second to build on that," acts as a verbal placeholder. It physically holds your spot in the room while your brain finishes its complex processing. Finally, you have to consciously recalibrate the true cost of staying silent. Force your brain to visualize the actual, tangible damage of a bad project moving forward, simply because you withheld your insight. True intelligence is having the courage to share your ideas while they are still in draft form, ensuring that loud ignorance doesn't get to dictate the future.